of England Farming Technical Forum. Mark, how are you, sir?
I'm all good. And yourself, Max?
Yep. Try to keep dry.
It is a bit
We
wet, isn't it?
we all know what that is like. Right. Hello, everyone. My name is Max MacGillivray. This is the esteemed Mark Campbell. We're just waiting for all the social media feeds to kick in. I can see that that Zoom is working. I've got a bank of social media lights. Mark, it's a bit like a Formula One starting grid. I can see what links are working and what links aren't working. I can see we've got a problem with Facebook today, and the team are saying the team are saying it's a bit like having an old tractor that's when those old tractors, what, when they don't start, you've got to get out the rubber mallet and you've got to thump the starter until it starts. Well, that's how Facebook is looking to operate today. And the team has said we've just got to fill for about 30 seconds. Tell you what, should we just be a bit cheeky, Mark, and get everyone in, and we'll just ask them a quick question. Tom, Chris, Charles, just open your videos. Right, what's for filling? Here's a question for you. What do you love about agriculture? Tom, go on, you go first. What do you love about farming?
Early mornings, late nights, loads of work, rubbish pay.
Yeah, and over and above that, what do you love?
Love it. No, that's the main thing, really. Absolutely love it.
Okay, so you wouldn't retrain as an accountant?
Nah, too boring.
Excellent. Chris, what do you love about farming?
Oh, it's got to be the variety, hasn't it?
Go on, in what way?
I think the fact that you could be doing any one of a number of jobs at the start of the day, and then you will work through, and you could be you get to work with people, you get to work with animals, you get to, I don't know, learn how to fix machinery, be an electrician. I mean, sometimes it's stressful, but it's quite nice to at least have an idea on how to do all those things, or have the right people on the place that can do it.
So Chris, anyone watching in who hasn't got anything to do with agriculture but is interested in it, would you recommend agriculture farming as a career, Chris?
Oh, I absolutely would. I think probably all of us would. Well, I'd like to think we all would. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing it, would we?
Yeah. Charles, what do you love about farming?
The agricultural community is the best community in the world, in my opinion. And in summertime, we've got the best office in the world. Obviously, not when it's raining, but yeah, being outside, it's great. So.
Well done. And just in our green room, we were talking about one of our colleagues, Mark, weren't we? A lovely chap called Isaac, who's out with the Nuffield Farming Scholarship investigating now at Chile. Oh, Facebook is coming on in 10 seconds. Right, we're going to do this properly. Charles, Tom, Chris, just turn off your video. Here we go. Right, everyone, are you ready? Right, Mark, are you ready? You're going to count us down, Mark, or shall I do it?
I'm all ready. Let's go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, my name is Max MacGillivray from Beanstalk Global. Proudly looking to host the South of England Farming Technical Forums sponsored by Fram Farmers. Mark, do you want to just say hello to everyone and just give a bit of a background as to why we're here today, please?
Yeah, good morning all. Mark Campbell here. And yes, really pleased to be alongside Max and some esteemed guests to deliver the first technical forum of 2024 for the South of England Show Society. And the purpose of the forums is to bring some individuals from the industry and to talk about some technical topics and get a bit more out of it as we lead towards our conference in November.
Excellent, well done. And just to give highlight again, Fram Farmers, if I can do this the right way around. Fram Farmers, if you don't know of them, and who doesn't know Fram Farmers, how can Fram Farmers support you? They stand side by side with farmers nationwide, purchasing farm inputs, marketing crops, and acting as an extension to your farm office. Their teams provide independent advice and market-leading expertise, enabling you to make the best purchasing, trading, and administrative decisions for your business. And to find out more, just visit their website, www.framfarmers.co.uk. I was having a look at the website yesterday, and there's some of the directors on there I know very, very well. So that's what I love, Mark, about these the likes of Fram Farmers. It's not only that they've got the expertise internally within their admin team, but the leadership team, they've got some people there who've got some fantastic working knowledge who can assist farmers, whether it be on day-to-day elements, also strategic decisions. So thank you very much for Fram Farmers for sponsoring today. So Mark, resilience, riding the roller coaster. This is a really interesting one. As we're all aware, currently there are multiple challenges and pressures faced both in our industry and lives. We wanted to create a panel to discuss and gain insight into how we're riding the current roller coaster and adapting businesses to become more resilient, and how we motivate the people around us whilst ensuring we all look after ourselves. So, Mark, shall we just bring in our experts and get them in, and so we can find out from them as to how they ride their roller coaster? Mark, is that okay?
Yeah, bring them in. Bring them in.
Tom, Charles, Chris, in your pot, please. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Let's get a bit of an understanding as to who you are and Eurovision style, who you're representing. Tom, over to you, please.
So I'm a dairy farmer, essentially. So I've got family tenancy at home, milk about 250 cows. I'm a director of Evolution Farming. We milk about 3,000 cows-ish over 8 farms.
Wow.
And my industry roles, I'm current chairman, vice chairman of Nuffield Farming Scholarships Trust in the UK and hope to become chairman in November. Also, and this isn't a joke, current chairman of the 1,000 Cow Club, which most of my non-farming friends find highly amusing and most of my farming friends find really amusing. And other stuff I'm involved with, on the committee of the Farmers Club in London, and being from West Yorkshire, I am definitely part of the Northern Levelling Up process.
So well done. I went to the Farmers Club to see a client the other day. Tom, what did I forget? My jacket and tie. So they're very kindly lent me one. So I won't be...
really nice one, I would have thought as well that they lent you. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Chris, over to you, please. Who are you and who are you representing?
Right. Good afternoon, everyone. We are a family-run dairy farm here in East Sussex. We're milking 450 cows. We've got some exciting plans on the horizon to build lots of expensive things and expand the herd to 650 cows. We've also recently taken on another farm to help sort of support our farm, so it gives you a bit of a background of where we are. I'm afraid my list of extracurricular activities is far shorter than Tom's. So I actually also helped to organise these South of England conferences. Silly me, I missed a meeting and then I ended up being on one instead. And that is about it, I'm afraid.
Sorry, Chris.
Excellent. Charles, over to you, please.
Hello, my name's Charles Anyan. I'm an arable farmer from near Gainsborough in Lincolnshire. We're farming about 800 acres, both tenanted and owned. We are very keen on the environmental side of things as well. I am also, away from the farm, I am a very proud ambassador of the wonderful Farming Community Network, a role, I'm delighted to do. I'm also, controversially, on the committee which organises the Lincolnshire Farming Conference up here at home. And and last year I was a judge of Farmers Weekly Britain's Fittest Farmer competition, which was lots of fun, very interesting, and great to be involved in.
Excellent. Gentlemen, thank you. Mark, there seems to be a commonality with all three of our speakers, our panel, our expert, that they all do different things outside of farming. Perhaps that's something that we could dive into under this heading of resilience, riding the roller coaster. And everyone, if you're dialed in on Zoom or any of the social media platforms, if you've got any questions for Charles, Tom, Chris, or Mark, please pile them in on the various chat functions, and we'll pick them up. And the brilliant Wiz and Beth, who are in the background from the South of England Ag Society, will assist us on that. So, Mark, come on, how are we going to take this forward to find out more about from how we can learn from these chats? Because we always say with these type of broadcasts, if people could go away with 5 things that they didn't know before, that would be great. That'd be a success all round. So, come on, Mark, how can we find out more from Chris, Tom, and Charles? Do you think?
Yeah, no, we've got a few things planned, but I think thinking about it, first of all, resilience is a big word, and my personal opinion on resilience, particularly the ag industry, is that farmers are pretty resilient. Whatever generally gets chucked at them, which are things generally that are out of their control, like the weather, we kind of get on it, we work around it, and we push forward. Not to say that there's not massive challenges out there to actually overcome them. I suppose let's start and think about some of the bigger stuff, and we'll come to you first, Charles. So, like, the world is very challenging at the moment, whether it's in industry or whether it's even at home, with the cost of living and all sorts of things going on. What sort of specific big challenges have you and your business faced recently, and how kind of you overcome those kind of challenges? What are the mountains that you've had to climb recently?
Well, basically, we talk about input costs. We talk about the price of wheat afterwards. But that's all, largely irrelevant if you don't get crops in the ground. And the biggest challenge for us since we got the combine out last July has been the weather. It's been a very tricky time. We obviously it got a bit silly when we got the drill out, and it's just been such a struggle getting crops in the ground, and we are not in too bad order. The way we've overcome it is by, I suppose, paying such close attention to ground conditions, to weather conditions, that when you do get a very small window to get back on the field, we have taken those, and we got another 42 acres of wheat in January. In I think the only 4-hour period we could have done it in 2024. So it's just a case of paying close attention to the conditions, and that's how we've tried to get over. So the weather's, if you don't get the crops in the ground, you don't have to worry really about input costs, or a lot of input costs, or wheat prices. So no, definitely weather for me.
Yeah, no, and that's a really tricky one, because it's something that, again, I've just said earlier, you can't control. And one of my colleagues, David Udall, who's our economics director, presented some figures earlier this week following the NFU conference, that there's potentially 24% of crops that haven't actually been drilled this year, which we're hoping for a dry spring, and those things need to be moved on. What about yourself, Tom? What in the world of dairy across multiple businesses? What would your kind of big mountains be that you've had to overcome and climb recently?
Still on with overcoming them, I think. Would be probably the first caveat. But I think making some big decisions, really. So we've got one dairy that we have just really struggled with, for whatever reason. Quick turnover of managers, X, Y, and Z. And we've made the decision to stop milking there and put it just as a heifer rearing unit. Well, not just, but it's going to become a heifer rearing unit and basically consolidate slightly. And I think, and these decisions aren't 2-minute decisions. When you think in 2016, we had 2 farms milking 500 cows. So it's been a massive, exciting period of growth. And then, then at the end of it, you cut, right, okay, we've got this big business. How are we going to run it effectively? And actually try and make some money. So I would say, that's been a big decision this year. The weather is just unbelievable, really, last year, and that's taken some, because we farm in like Chris does. We farm in a dry part of the world on the whole, and we're always panicking about running out of silage. So this year, with the clamp full of silage at home and silage analysis looking pretty good, but we just couldn't get the cows to milk off it. It's stuff like that. You're putting stuff in place, and everything's come together, and then being 3 or 4 litres of cow down this time last year, and with the milk price, that is just a constant.
Yeah, and they're massive challenges. Those big decisions, like you say, that the business that you've created to make those decisions to stop milking on a unit for the right reasons must have been a very, very big one. And then, like you say, with not just being able to get that group of cows ticking on, that must have been really, really difficult to push forward. Chris, what about yourself?
I think probably similar to what everybody else has said. Certainly, the weather always presents quite a sizable challenge for us, doesn't it? And it's funny what you say, Tom, about trying to get on and make silage, and it's sort of like there's quite a number of moments in farming where you have 1 or 2 days which are going to set you up for the rest of the year, and it's sort of make or break, isn't it? I would say, sort of aside from that, we have had a fairly turbulent autumn this autumn just gone. So we've sort of been struggling with TB for a number of years now. We sort of seem to ebb and flow and come in and out of it. The business took a real big hit, and we lost 70 cows at the beginning of November, which was challenging. And then on the side of that, just a few other sort of, smaller issues going on the side, really. But obviously, all of those things amount to make it quite a challenging time, don't they? But thankfully, by having a decent team around us and a bit of positivity, we managed to get through that. But I'd say that's probably been the biggest challenge we've had to overcome this year, anyway.
Team, it is can I just say, it is crazy, isn't it, that we've got this problem in the short term. We've got the problem of water saturation. I'm just looking out of my office window based at Edmonds, and we're up here. In Spain, I don't know if you've picked up because you're so busy in your own worlds, but there's a drought in some of the salad producing areas, and that's just been exacerbated. So we've got this problem over here and that problem over there, and it's a conversation for another time all around climate change. But yeah, it does seem to be more and more of these weather pressures coming at us. Sorry, Mark, over to you.
No, you jump in, and that's something like I was fortunate enough to be away last week in Austria skiing, and it really surprised me how warm and how much lack of snow there was in a region that normally is very snow, which is stuff that's well out of our control. So some big major challenges there that you guys are not insignificant in terms of overcoming, whether it be not having crops in the ground or making some massive decisions to change your business, or losing a fair chunk of your herd, which you can't really plan for. So let's think about what strategies, if you could share some strategies and some ways that you've implemented things to kind of make your businesses and you more resilient within these current pressures. What have you done, Tom, to try and build that resilience with you and your business?
I think my business, we sold a third of it a couple of years ago to some non-dairy farming people, and that's been really interesting to get an industry, a non-dairy industry viewpoint on it all. It's a lot less emotional, a lot more clean cut, certainly knowing far beyond your facts and figures. And so we have a structure of board meetings every month, and we now have a weekly call with our finance department, and we also put in place all our sort of senior managers. We have a call on a Monday morning, and we look at actions that people should have achieved last week, and whether they achieved them or not, roll them forward to next week if needs be, and actions for the week ahead, so everybody knows where they're doing. How can people help each other out? And yeah, that's been good business wise. I guess personal resilience, the big one for me, and that's probably steal your thunder on another question, but surrounding yourself with positive people. Like the Nuffield farming for me is the big hitter on that. Just no matter what, you've got people you can ring up and get revitalized, or go to the conference or the dairy group, and same with Thousand Cow Club. You've got people that are having similar issues and all the rest of it. You just know you've got a big group of people that you can ring anytime. And I think also if your enthusiasm ever does slightly wane, in Nuffield we're setting up a Next Gen award, like a Young Nuffield award, and we're interviewing 8 absolutely amazing 18 to 24-year-olds, and we're going to offer a couple of them the chance to do a mini Nuffield tour, and that's no matter what's going on in the world, when you have a day of interviewing those guys and how enthusiastic and the future of industry, and it really does, it's that shot in the arm that you need to crack on really.
Yeah, definitely makes things worthwhile, and I think definitely the point around relationships and people is true. The world's built around relationships, and you need to harvest of those things. In terms of the bringing somebody into the business, that must have been a fairly big decision to make. Has that massively changed how the business is run now with that fresh set of eyes in terms of the structures and things like that? Or
yeah, probably not. Not the system. The system is still basically the same, but I think farming is an emotional industry. We live and breathe it, whether we like to or not. I admit we're all 7-day-a-week type operators, I would have thought. And do you know what? I get the feeling that most other industries aren't like that. It is Monday to Friday, doing the job, and a lot less emotion involved and all the rest. So yeah, very interesting to hear stories of other industries. And one of the groups I enjoy being with is Multi-Site Dairy Group. We meet twice a year, and Isaac Van Heerden runs it, and we have non-dairy farming speakers. So from McDonald's franchisee holders to INEOS and anybody in between, and it's that sort of stuff. Lessons from other industries. It's really important.
I'm just going, Mark. I'm just going to jump in. I don't know if everyone picked up that in Australia, there's a new law that's just come out that if you don't want to, you don't have to receive action emails from close of play Friday to Monday morning, which is great for those businesses. But Tom, can you imagine that if you're not going to answer any calls, any emails, or do any actions on your farm from Friday to Monday morning? Is that okay?
Well, I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea. I think just our reality of dairy farming in particular is a 24/7 operation, and stuff does happen to go wrong. And then when you're at our scale, it goes wrong on the scalable scale. So
and I completely agree with that. And I think there's a lot of other industries and a lot of my friends and colleagues. I'm an odd one out in my family. I'm a non-farmer. I'm a townie. I was born in the town. A lot of my friends aren't from agricultural backgrounds. But run businesses, and it's not a 9 to 5 operation. There is bit. We've had an interesting question come in from FC, and actually are dialing in. So I'm glad you're here. Which we completely appreciate. People are committed to their jobs, and it's not 9 to 5. But burnout is a real issue. How would the panel find, or what would there be advice to be able to find that work-life balance, which is very difficult in agricultural industries? Who would like to have a go at answering that one? Chris, do you want to have a go?
Yeah, go on, and I'll have a crack at that. I think we're all very good at sitting here and saying that we would really like to probably work a bit less, and that we should maintain a positive work-life balance, and we should see more of our family and more of our friends, and all the things we've had before. But you're right, saying it and doing it are two very different things, aren't they? I think probably my best bit of advice is, and it comes back to what Tom said, is getting a really good team of people around you. And there's so many things that I'm sure everyone does to, little things here and there to try and get those people and to keep those people around you. But ultimately what that does is once you have a decent team of trustworthy people on farm, which we are very, very fortunate to have, that gives you the confidence to say, actually, I'm off this weekend, and whatever happens, my team can deal with it. You're on the end of the phone, you can deal with an emergency. And I think, as I say, I can't really give you one specific way or reason, but I think you have to try and get a hold of decent people, and then you have to trust them to do the job that you've got them in place to do. And that's how I'm able to turn off, I think.
Yeah, it's a good point, and it must be. And again, I can't speak because I'm not directly a farmer, but it must be really difficult to sit on your hands and actually make that conscious effort to take a bit of time out of the business to do whether it be an afternoon, an hour, lunch with the missus, or whatever that may be. It must be really difficult. But a good point there in terms of surround yourself with good people and trusting the team to deliver. Charles, what about yourself? How will we prevent burnout?
Well, the thing for me is, unlike Chris and Tom, I don't, have livestock, so this time of the year it's a bit easier. And if I get a spare weekend, I'm very keen to have a word with the better half, and I'll say Saturday morning we are going to disappear up to North Yorkshire Moors. We'll go on booking.com, book somewhere cheap. We'll take the walking boots. We will, walk, a fair few miles. We'll have dinner. We'll have a few beers and just get away from it. I can say, as I say, it's easier when you're an arable farmer, but just to get out of the pressure cooker occasionally, and when you're walking in the North Yorkshire Moors and you're not worrying so much about the weather, which you can't change at home, and also obviously I'm fairly keen on my physical exercise, and especially in harvest time when it's a really busy time, I always get my trainers on 6 o'clock in the morning, before the phone starts ringing, before the combine starts breaking down, and I will leave the phone at home and just go out for 45 minutes, an hour of peace and quiet, just have a bit of a reset. And I think that's really important, just to take a bit of time away from it. So as and when, and just take your opportunities when you can.
Yeah, I think that's the key. That's definitely the key. The taking the opportunities when you can. That hopefully at some point through the farming year, whatever enterprise and business you're operating, there is a little bit of a lull and a downtime that you should capitalise on that and take a bit of a break.
Mark, can I just jump in, because there's something that you and I've discussed with numerous other broadcasts that I never know where I quite got it from. I think it was from Cranfield University, that there's this arbitrary figure thought that the better leaders spend 25% of their time thinking. So if it's Charles going for a run before his combine breaks down, or Tom on the way to Nuffield, or Chris on his way to hockey, just to be able to have that time to think, to get away from the pressure cooker, and I love the Nuffield connotation, to actually be mixing with people who are going to energize you. So you're going to come back energized. So any problem that you had when you left actually might not be a problem, might be an opportunity. So I love that. And I know it's so difficult in farming world, but that thought that the better leaders spend 25% of their time thinking, so that they can plan for the future, or work around potential issues and create a positive from that. Mark, over to you.
Yeah, no, really good point there, Max. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that, Tom, as a 24/7 farmer with a young family as well? What ways would you prevent sort of burnout, or what strategies would you try and implement?
I mean, it's quite odd. I mean, one thing I always say about dairy farming: if somebody is a dairy farmer and you say, "What do you do?" they always say dairy farmer. If somebody is any other sort of farmer, they just say farmer. So I don't know what the connotations of that are, but it just means we're probably a bit ego-driven, fired up characters. I'm not sure, but because I'm on the road and around the different farms during the week, I actually quite enjoy milking my own cows at home on the weekend.
Oh, lovely!
Especially because I've got my 17-year-old boy is working on his year out. I've got my 15-year-old boy. I've got my 16-year-old niece that helps me as well, and then I've got a nephew who comes every other weekend. So actually, we have a really good weekend. Sounds really sad. I know. I can see Charles' face. I know it's sad. But we have a great weekend, swinging some cups around and getting done in better time and all the rest of it. I think the other real cool thing we've done recently is one of the guys decided on the biggest farm in Leicester to start a five-a-side team. And every Monday night now, the farm is a team in the local five-a-side league. You know, one of these places where they have sort of 7 or 8 pitches, AstroTurf pitches. Yeah. And that is cracking, to the point where anybody on our contracting team or building team always makes sure they happen to be at that farm on a Monday night. And even if you're not playing, just to watch and support. And the crack now on a Tuesday is not, what was the milk ticket yesterday? Well, what was the score last night? Excellent. And it has, that for team building. I know it's scalable just because it's a large farm with a lot of people working there. But it's, even I play, which is hard to believe. And I was subbed at the same time as a guy that was the oldest player, obviously, in the other team. He says, "Us old boys do all right, don't we, really?" So, well, how old are you? He said, 33. And I said, I'm 46 this year. So
that's a really good example of a really good strategy of trying to get out and about, get your heart rate up. I'm a great believer in getting the heart rate up, and I'm definitely in Charles's camp in terms of the early morning running to set me up for the day. But there's some good strategies there about trusting the team, about taking your opportunities, but also it doesn't. I hate it when people say to me, "Oh, you're working still at 7 o'clock in the evening." Well, that's because I choose to, and I know how to regulate. I try and regulate when I work and when I don't want to work, and I've completely emphasised that with you, Tom. You're a very passionate, all of you, very passionate farmers, and you love doing your job and spending the weekend with cows, which are the best thing in the world. Sorry, Charles. With family, it must be fantastic. Which is pretty good.
And Mark, just to give another anecdote, I did a lot of work with in Africa, and I remember interviewing an amazing lady who's a big buyer for a big South African retailer, and South Africa produces near on 9 million tons of fresh produce a year, and they always have issues, whether it be weather, labour, freight issues. And as she says, Max, never waste a crisis. Never waste a crisis. There's always a positive that can come from it. So I suppose if you've got a scenario of the silo's broken or something, you're going to find a way of making that better, and you're going to learn from it. So I always love that expression of never waste a crisis. Mark.
Yeah, no, definitely. You never always take the positive out of the negative, and you never know what you might learn. So, Chris, just building on one of the points that you made earlier about surrounding yourself with good people and having a really good team around you. You've had a pretty challenging autumn with various things, losing 70 cows off the farm, with the volatility of the markets and things like that. How do you maintain that motivation within your small team on farm? To remain that sort of engaged and focused and as the leader of the business to keep things going in the right track?
I think there's a number of different ways that we would try and keep the team motivated. One of which I think we try to be ruthlessly positive, which is, brilliant. I know that everybody would probably say the same thing, and sometimes it's easier and sometimes it's more difficult, but fundamentally, sort of like Max was saying, like that, even with situations that seem, I don't know, horrible at the time, there is always a positive. The positive for us on the TB side was, well, thank goodness we were looking at herd expansion, because we may have delayed herd expansion by another year, but at least we still have a herd of dairy cows that will run at a profitable level. And, you know, other positives to pull out of that, the guys, despite having a number of animals, you know, taken from the herd, and obviously they're never the animals that you'd want to lose, still our team is managing to achieve performance. You know, they are exceeding what we managed to do last year on a number of different levels. So I think, you know, you can always find those positives, and it's then making sure that there's sort of open and honest communication with everyone so that they're all aware of what's going on. Again, sort of to jump back to missing meetings, you know, I missed a prep meeting for this on Tuesday, but that's one of our sort of non-negotiables, is that every month, 6 weeks, we have a proper team meeting that involves the farm nutritionist and involves the vet, and it's just to get together on, like, what are we doing well, what are we doing badly, how can we improve? And you know, it's quite a big one because it's the end of serving, so you do the big old wrap up and see how it's all gone. And from here on in, as an autumn calving herd, you know, we're cruising, we'll turn some cows out and we'll go and make some grass. So, you know, that those meetings are really important because everybody is absolutely bought in to how we're getting on, and therefore hopefully keeping an eye out on what we as a team can do better. Other things that we would try and do is, I think, get the team out and about. So again, following on from what Tom said, like, get out and go out for dinner, provide people some food, go and, you know, do activities as a team. And all of that just allows everybody to get away from thinking about farming for a little bit and just to, you know, bond as a team and, I don't know, have a bit of fun, really. we all spend an awful lot of time with each other, so it's quite important to be able to get off and do something other than farming, essentially. Yeah, I think that probably about covers it, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it's all good, and there's some good points there about just, you're not underestimating the team in terms of taking that positive out of what could be a catastrophe. And I like the food point, that food always goes down well. In my day job at AHDB, definitely if I turn up on farm, it's always some form of cakes, and you could kind of generally want something or want someone to do something for me, which
bacon is rarely received badly, is it?
Exactly. Charles, what about yourself up in Lincolnshire? Conscious that you possibly haven't got a massive team, but how would you maintain those kind of motivations with people around you for the business through the challenging times?
Well, as Chris says, just got to remain positive. We're also very aware on our little farm that, you know, there's always someone worse off than yourself. And when you see what's going on around the world, you know, struggling to get crops in Springthorpe doesn't always seem, you know, that important, if you know what I mean, compared to a lot of that. But I suppose we've got a very small team. We've got one chap that works for us. We always have a morning meeting every morning. Tom, my father, and myself, just to, you know, get his ideas, get our ideas, and just communication. And also this time of the year, if he, you know, wants a bit of family time, if his son's going swimming and he wants to go and watch that, you know, we're very open to that, because there's plenty of the year when you know, he doesn't get to see his family as much. So it's just a case of, you know, encouraging him to at this time of the year, because you know, with these weather conditions, there's only so many times you can clean, wash, and service the combine.
Yeah. Yeah, so providing that flexibility and good, effective communication, and just giving a bit of time when you can be there sounds really, really good. Tom, I'm going to come to you, but add a little bit of a spin because conscious that you've got a slightly bigger team across multiple sites. Do you find there's any differences in terms of your techniques for motivating for the different generations, for the millennial to the Gen Z? Would there be anything different that you would do across your team and the people around you?
Like things are, like it's a cliche, isn't it? But things are changing quite fast. And actually, 5 years ago, it was just about, almost Wolf of Wall Street-esque, wall-to-wall drinking, boys and girls, no matter who. They would just want to, night out was about 4:30 in the morning, straight milking, whatever, just full on. And that's what they wanted. And that drove the team to be, and I think today things are different, and I use the Nuffield example again. When I got my Nuffield scholarship in 2005, and we went away for 10 days and did our sort of contemporary scholars conference piece, it was about sleeping during the boring presentations during the day, so you had enough energy at night to meet all your new friends from around the world and drink yourself into oblivion. Whereas Isaac, having got it last year, I think they had a running club. So I think that would probably be the two extremes of where I think. So I think you're absolutely right. You need to cater for everybody in what you do. And I think, just the other week, it sounds ridiculous, but said to the guys on the farm at Leicester, "Oh, come on, we'll go out for lunch." There was 11 of us went out for lunch. We went to Wetherspoons. They had a drink and a main course. They were there and back in an hour. The total bill came to 110 quid. Everybody said in all their previous jobs, their boss had never taken them out for lunch.
No. Wow.
And it's like, right, this is 110 quid. This is not like 1,000 quid. And it's, it was a bit like, it can be a bit awkward as well, especially like the younger ones, like, oh, this is a bit odd, But actually, I think the feedback was really, really positive. And I think that's the challenge. And I said this to my two eldest kids, and I said, they're going to have different challenges to me again, because the new post-COVID, again, cliche, things are different. There's no doubt about it, and it's different things that people want. But that's going to be the challenge.
Yeah, no, it's tapping
We're
in.
not for older end, and I know, like for an older end, more traditionalist, like myself, Victorian values type thing. Like it is really difficult to get your head around.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest challenge. And I speak as a parent, and I look at my 15-year-old and my 14-year-old, and in terms of their drivers are very, very different to what my drivers were when I was that age. And we just need to try and tap into that. And just like you say, just taking them out to lunch, nowhere fancy, just to Wetherspoons for an hour, that costs the business minimal, 10 quid a head, it really pays dividends. Max.
I've just had a WhatsApp saying, Tom, next time you go to Wetherspoons, can you tell us your table number so we can buy you all a drink? You're brilliant.
Awesome. Why do you think I brought up the story? Definitely all over that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, what you get delivered. You get a pint of milk delivered to your table.
We'll take anything. We'll take anything.
Excellent. Mark, do you want to have a look at the questions that have just come in on Zoom, because there's some interesting ones there.
Yeah, no, we've got a question here from Alan Smith. Hi there, Alan. Good to hear from you. He would like to know from the panel that you've talked about teams quite a bit, and people around your business. Have you got any ideas of how we can encourage more of the next generation into our fabulous industry? Who would like to start with that one? Chris is nodding, so we'll go for you first. Sorry.
Just say yes to them, quite simply.
Wow.
We get heaps of people that get in contact, perhaps not on a weekly basis, probably every couple of weeks, that are looking for an opportunity on the farm. I am very, very, I can't stress enough how fortunate I am to have grown up on a farm and to have, found the vocation I wanted to do right from the word go, and sort of not really strayed from that path. But there are so many other people that are so keen to get into this industry, but it's quite a big deal for them just to send a message to someone and to ask the question. So we owe it to all of those people to turn around and say, yes, come and have a chat to us, see what the farm's like, give them a half hour, an hour of your time. And out of that, they might decide that they want to come along and have a go at it for 1 day a week, or they might decide that it's not for them. And you never know, we've had 2 or 3 really good people that have worked their way up through our business that have come from, just a knock on the door or a chat at the farm gate. So yeah, I think just say yes to people.
That's brilliant.
So that's a good point. Tom, what about yourself?
Yeah, thinking of what have I done, like my own next generation. I think the sad thing for me, I feel a bit like Charles and Camilla as a middle generation here, in terms of it felt like I was the next generation for about 5 minutes, and now my 2 eldest sons are talking about when they're going to take over the farm, X, Y, and Z. I think key drivers for those guys wanting to do this job is I was always just given beer money, even when we took over the business in our mid-20s, and then spent another 5 years working for beer money. And I think my kids and my niece and my nephew, they're getting paid properly for every, they submit timesheets to payroll, and they get paid every month for the appropriate amount for their age, and that has been a game changer. So that's the starting point. I think 2 is involving them in decisions very early on. COVID again, sorry, I'm boring about it, but that revolutionized my boys' lives because they had a year in the business, or 6 months, whatever it was, in the business. So they got over learning about farming. Now they're learning about the business. So we're looking at swapping our tractor at home. So I made sure it was a Saturday morning, and I arranged to take my 2 boys and the young lad that works for us on the farm as well, that drives a tractor, and I took all 3 of them to the dealership, and it was down to them to test drive them and decide which one they wanted, and specs, and debate with the sales rep, and it's stuff like that. And we're taking some more land on at the moment, and I'd actually had a 3-way call with my 2 boys on a strategy around what we wanted to do with it, how much should we pay, and I just think I was kicking a football around the garden at their age. I wasn't like sat listening to or being active part of this, and this is what's getting them fired up to do their own thing. So we've decided, Catherine and I have decided, that we won't be in business with our kids, but they can sort of contract farm, that's sort of the home farm or whatever they want to do, and so we'll support them in their business. But none of this, all this will be yours one day. Very a lot more clear cut. And don't worry, your mother will still help you do the books and stop you spending money. And I'll do the opposite. So I think that's there, but they're more in charge of their own destiny.
Yeah. Mark, can I just jump in? I was just saying to everyone in the green room before we went live that I'm off to Nottingham to see Caleb in not in concert, because I don't think he sings, but he's doing this 2-hour talk, and the one of the ladies from South of England show went and saw him in Tunbridge Wells. So the reason for saying that, if he's presented to 2,500 people tonight, and he's on a tour, he's doing like 25 dates. Now's our time. We've got the likes of him encouraging everyone to come into the sector. But I suppose it's up to us now in the sector to make ourselves as attractive as possible. And you know what I'm going to say? Just make sure you're keeping your social media buzzy, exciting, interesting. Because just as Chris says, if you've got people coming in and they're coming in on the back of your social media, especially if, say, Charles is looking for more great grain runners or people to run the grain store in the summer, and they look at your social media and think, oh, actually, that's quite interesting. It's just what Caleb said, or whoever. So I think it is. Being jingoistic, it is very much our time now that there's a lot of positivity out there, but just to capture these people, all the stats from the likes of the NFU that 6 out of 10 kids don't know where fruit and veg comes from, let alone pure farming. So if we've got this opportunity to get them excited, and they can see our social media, and they can contact us direct, and they're good, you could end up with some very good employees for the long term. Mark,
can I just come in on that, Max? Because a couple of days ago we've just done some new calf accommodation on one of the sort of biggest farm we've got, where we spring calving. And I just took a video of some calves that have been bedded up and of the calf shed, just a few seconds. I was just looking now. So that was posted on Monday evening about 8:30 on our Facebook page. Up to date, it's had 163,000 views.
No. Wow.
It's had 1.6 6,000 or 1,600 Facebook likes from people all over the world. Like the names you look like we're getting pretty big in India for whatever reason, but that it's unbelievable, isn't it? People love videos. It's only had 30 shares, but the outreach has been huge, and it's literally a 10, 12-second video, and the comments and no negative rubbish either. And I did it on my phone there and then, uploaded it on the old 4G, and a couple of shares and you're away. And if we all did that about some positive stuff, you cannot beat calves running around a shed, or around a field or whatever, can you? Like
if I can echo that, please. As farmers, we're very, very good at talking about the negatives. Whereas in this day and age of social media or whatever, there's an awful lot of positives that we just don't, show off. So it's just a case of being more positive. In answer to Alan's question, will make farming a much more attractive place for new entrants. So encourage, include them, pay them well, but just be positive. And positivity breeds positivity, and that's my thought.
Well done. Tom, are you going to do more videos like that?
Definitely am, if it gets more followers and all of it. But it's actually a worry, because you stood there and you take a second to work out whether you should post it or not, because what you don't want is the anti-farming dairy farming lobby getting stuck into you and notification after and that. But actually, this up to this point, and it's mind blowing, isn't it? The amount of people that love viewing videos, and testament Tom Pemberton, Grassmen, the amazing stuff they do.
Other brands are available.
You can get I think the point is, and I will cite Tom Pemberton. I'm sure when Tom Pemberton started, all his local farmers would have slagged him off to high heaven.
Yep.
But he carried on and he carried on. He pushed on, and now everybody were like, "Crikey, he's built a whole new farm on the back of his YouTube channel or whatever." And his outreach is to be
over 500,000 subscribers.
And just to reiterate that thread, that if you're looking to attract younger generation into your farm, if you're doing videos the likes of Tom, it's going to make you attractive to come and work for. Mark.
Yeah, and I think we're talking about resilience today. I think in terms of labour and that kind of stuff is a major challenge within farming and lots of other industries at the moment. By providing that positive message, tailoring to the next generation, will hopefully attract some. I can speak from my personal experience as a non-farmer. Unfortunately, the gentleman that introduced me to the world of agriculture in my career, and I'm probably testament to where I am today, to his family business, unfortunately died a few weeks ago. But that was because they said yes, they let me in. I started cleaning out calf pens at the age of 12. And work my way up and embrace that farming community that Charles talked about earlier, that infused my passion for cows and for the industry. But I think we need to do that. I look at my son, who's 15. He hasn't got a clue what he wants to do, and unfortunately probably would never persuade him to go into the world of agriculture. But it's how do we, that sponge at that age, how do we get him to see those great positive things of the industry?
Yeah, and again, Mark, on this point about resilience, did he see how Tom smiled when he said about his video? You could see Tom. I'm just going to put words in your mouth. He was so proud of being able to do that, and you could see that 150,000 people globally were proud. Were proud as well. So that resilience side, if you can find ways to show what agriculture is and how interest. Hence my sort of slightly jingoistic question right at the beginning of what do you enjoy about farming? I'm going to pick on accountants again. No offense to accountants, but who wants to be an accountant when you can have a lifestyle like Tom, Chris, and Charles? Oh no, I'm going to get.
Well, not my lifestyle, but the other two, I'm sure, especially Chris, because he's in the South of England club, which means he shoots 4 days in the season. He's at least twice a winter, and then obviously two summer holidays on some island somewhere. So
I see. My excuse is always to say
be more Chris and less Tom.
Yeah.
Be more arable farmer and less dairy farmer, isn't that what it's meant to be?
But Mark, whilst these three are ribbing each other, this it's the farming community that I think if anyone is suffering from lack of resilience, they've just got to lean on their community, haven't they? Whether it be locally within the farming sector, or as Tom has obviously done very well as a direct example with the likes of Nuffield or Charles with the FCN. There's so much to go at within the farming sector, rather than, let's not pick on accountants, being an engineer of ball bearings. Can you imagine what the community is within the ball bearing sector?
Well, I think one of the wonderful things as well about being a farmer is like we are not in direct competition with our neighbours.
Yeah, well done. Well done.
You know, we are able to sit there and chat about our issues and find solutions and share information with them, because you know there's no real competitive advantage there, is there?
Yeah.
Unless you're Tom.
Statistically, though, Chris, people end up working with the next door but one neighbour, not the neighbour.
Yeah, probably.
It's just that making sure you keep talking to your neighbours when things are going well, but more importantly when they're not going well.
Yeah,
and all that. I suppose my role as a mental health ambassador is to sort of try and break the stigma surrounding mental health, and just to get people talking. A problem shared is a problem halved, and all that kind of thing. And with our wonderful agricultural community, we've got lots of people to talk to, and it's much more healthy than keeping any problems to yourself.
Yeah, well done.
The other one I'd always do when I'm doing a talk to a group of farmers or whatever is that trying to find the right life partner is the way to go. Because if you want resilience, like two's better than one. You know, for me personally, I know we're past Valentine's Day. That definitely didn't get Catherine anything, so I'm definitely doing a bit of making up here. But you know, having the right life partner is mind. You know, is a game changer.
On national TV, Mark, Tom says that he loves his wife. I think that was the message, wasn't it?
Yeah, most definitely.
Oh, look at smile again. Yeah.
Yeah. She probably. I think she still loves me, but she doesn't like me anymore. I think that's what she says.
She probably won't when she hears that, and she said, "Here's you say you go for 2 life partners rather than 1."
Guys, this whole point about resilience, that there's a term I know in business I occasionally hear, that we're all in business for 2 things: to have fun and to make money. And I don't think making money is a dirty word. I remember Princess Anne saying it at Oxford Farming Conference last year. That very eloquent speakers this morning session, but no one mentioned profit. We all need to make a profit. I get the feeling from you three that you're not caretakers of what you're doing, and if anything, that one of the counters for you to give you resilience is ambition. To keep you going forward. So you're always looking at the next thing. Charles, would I be right that you've got this ambition, and that's and anything sort of that would knock your resilience? You think, well, no, I know where I'm going, and I know this is the strategy. Just keep on going. So is that your ambition to take your business further forward, Charles? Does that help you with around this whole resilience element?
Absolutely. I think at the end of the day, you see an awful lot of stuff on social media about people thinking farmers are, out for profit, and more shame them. But at the end of the day, we need to, especially encouraging new people to the industry. We are a business, and we're not a public service. All this public sector's for public good. We've got to do, good for the public. But essentially, we are a business. We've got to act like a business. We've got to behave like a business, and we've got to drive ourselves forward like a business.
Yeah. Yeah. Well done, Chris. Do you find the same, that helps you with your resilience, your drive, your strategy, taking the team with you?
I think there's no doubt that a bit more money in the bank account makes life a bit easier, doesn't it? But yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with Charles. We're all sort of talking a good game about how we manage our businesses, but you're right. If we're not making a profit, ultimately we are not a resilient business, are we? We're not able to reinvest or put some time into the next generation that are coming through, or any of those other things, or take our guys out for lunch or for some activities or whatever. Ultimately, all of that, requires some money, and if we're not profitable, then all those sorts of things are the types of things that slip by the wayside, aren't they? And then it's a slippery slope. Yeah,
I was speaking to a strawberry farmer last week, and he was so excited that he's caught in this the retail trap, that he's dealing with the retailer and everything that goes around with that. He got contacted by a Japanese company. Who knew this was a thing? But Japan is short of strawberries that are unripened, so white at the top, because they're cosmetically they look very good on cakes. So he's now setting up a relationship where he's supplying unripened strawberries at something like 10 times the margin to Japan, and he's taking his family out in a couple of months to on holiday, but also to meet these people. And he's just so excited that there's another income stream to be had. So I suppose it might work, but it's exciting for him. It's just another way of looking at things, and to give you more resilience. If you're going to be positive, as I think Charles said, that's definitely going to help your resilience, Mark.
Yeah, no, all good. And I've got one sort of question which is a bit more targeted to Charles around. We've talked a lot today about a lot of things around business resilience, around teams, around personal. Thinking a bit more about the personal and self-care and looking after yourself. Often one of the biggest challenges within ag is actually making that first step to actually doing something. And I don't want to dwell on your running, but you now run 1 million squillion miles a week and have completely transformed yourself. But my question is, what would your advice be to make that step, to step away from the business, to do something different, whatever that may be? How did you go about it, and what was the trigger?
Well, basically, I used to swim a lot before COVID, and I used to snack quite a lot before COVID. So going into COVID, I was essentially a 17 stone man, and being short, that 17 stone certainly showed. And then COVID happened and they shut the swimming pool. And I thought, crikey, if I don't do anything, I'm going to end up 20 stone. And I'd always been a bigger guy. I've been prop forward since I was 4 years old. And so basically I thought, well, it's looking like running. So that's the only thing you can do around here. And then I didn't think anything more of it. Then I got challenged by Liz Hogarth, who's in the dairy industry, dairy farmer from Dent up in Cumbria, who challenged me to run 5 for the NHS. And I thought, well, showing willing on social media. I've been showing willing on social media for years. I decided to find my trainers, which I couldn't. And obviously all the shops were shut. So I went into my orchard, which was newly mown, and walked a lot and jogged a bit barefoot, because I didn't have any trainers, for about 45 minutes. And I thought, well, that's probably, I can pass that off as 5K. And then I got some trainers delivered, and I think everybody thought me in a running career, including myself, would be absolutely dreadful. And, I went out, and I've got quite an addictive personality. And it turned out that I was actually not as bad as I thought. So I kept doing it, and I got quicker, and I got thinner. And, especially getting thinner, it really encouraged me. And 9 months to the day of running around my orchard barefoot, I ran my first marathon, and then got approached by the Farming Community Network, a wonderful charity who, I've always, I supported during my first marathon, and to be their ambassador. And whilst I've always been very lucky with my mental health, I've had off days, everybody has off days, but I've always been very fortunate. A lot of those close to me haven't. And it's just a case of, if I can take this and run with it, I can normalize the whole mental health thing for them, and hopefully break the stigma for them, and hopefully for many other people in the industry as well. So that's how I got running, essentially by accident. And now training for my 5th marathon, really enjoying it personally. And you're really delighted and grateful that so many people have essentially come on the journey with me. And as I say, really delighted to be involved with FCN.
Mark, just to say, I don't recognise the number, but I just had a WhatsApp saying Charles is the Daniel Craig of Lincolnshire.
I've been called many things before, but never that. But no, thank you.
Take that one.
So a tongue-in-cheek challenge from Liz Hogarth and COVID, and there we are now. So it can be anything that can trigger these kind of things, and you just need to.
Do you know the lucky point for me, Mark? The lucky thing for me is when I see people I haven't seen for a while, I say, "Oh, you're looking well. Have you lost some weight? Or you've lost some weight?" The nice thing is people remember me fatter than I really am. So if they think of Tom Rawson, they think of somebody like 25 stone, not 18. So that's quite a nice way of not having to lose any weight. Still feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
Well, that's brilliant. Anyhow, I'm conscious, Max. I think we're running out of time, aren't we?
Yeah, I just think it's been a really lovely mix. One thing that we haven't mentioned, guys, is humour. It's yeah, I think the more we laugh, the more we smile, the more positive we are, and the better resilience that we have. Mark, we need to get these three on stage with Caleb. Can you imagine that? But Caleb just get pushed aside.
I'll chat with him tonight.
Yeah. Come on, leave it with me.
We could be the warm-up act.
Excellent. So I'm conscious that we're running out of time and everyone wants to grab some lunch. But just quickly to the panel, one piece of advice, guidance, one share nugget. What would you share with the viewers in terms of how we could answer today's questions of resilience and how do we ride that roller coaster as we move into 2024? Chris, we'll go to you first. Just very quick point. What would your nugget of information be?
I think it would probably be that, first of all, that tomorrow will hopefully always be better. Sometimes you encounter issues, you encounter challenges, and you think, my God, how are we going to get over this? And normally, once you have a bit of a chance to stop, take stock, think about it, you find a way around it, and life all of a sudden is not so bad. And I think, sort of picking on what Charles was saying, like, talk to people as well. Not just when things are going well, but when things are going badly, because actually quite often that's when it's far more valuable.
Brilliant. Thank you, Chris. What about yourself, Charles?
Back yourself, have a bit of faith in yourself, and you don't know if you don't try, and if it doesn't work out, pick yourself up, dust yourself down and go again.
Boom. Love that. Well done.
And last but not least, Tom.
Yeah, I know I'm boring about it, but I've no choice because I'm vice chairman of it. But something like Nuffield farming, just get involved, get away. I think the nice thing is I've lucky to have travelled a bit, and don't think I've ever had to pay for myself. There's so many opportunities out there in our industry for societies and scholarships, and to meet some absolutely amazing people. And recently I was asked to speak at a conference in Australia, which I couldn't go to in the end. And I got a hell of a lot of grief from a Nuffield pal in New Zealand saying, you need to sort your job out, you need to get there, that's ridiculous. And that's a nice thing. I think you just get to know loads of really nice, positive people and get to not know negative, not nice people. I think that's where I'm at.
Yeah, no, that's all good. Have you anything to add, Max?
No, I think I go back to my last ones. The people I know who've had a crisis have actually been better from it. People who've had gone through a scenario in life, whether it be personal or business, if they just look at it as this is an opportunity, they can better themselves from it. So that's what I'd say. I love what Chris says. It's always going to be better tomorrow, always.
Yeah, no. Well, what a fantastic discussion. I reckon we could carry on for another hour. It's been really good. And I think the three little take homes from me is take your opportunities wherever you can, whether that be to take a break or whether that be to connect with some people. The simple things really make a difference, whether that be creating, like Tom said, the little five-a-side football team within the group. That could be a group of farmers, or whether it's just going to a Wetherspoons for a little spot of lunch or a sandwich. They really do help. And then the key thing about surrounding yourself with positive people and relationships. Get involved with groups like the Nuffields and the various young farmers and whatever that may be, and talk to people. And if you can't talk, then seek some advice from people like FCN. But no, it's been a fantastic broadcast today. We'd really like to thank Fram Farmers for their continued support with these broadcasts and technical forums, which we have another one planned, which hopefully might be a little bit of a twist, a bit of a spin. We'll go live from the South of England show on June the 8th. More details to follow from that, but that will be broadcast live on the internet as well. But other than that, I have to say,
can we just say, if it wasn't for Wiz and Beth and the rest of the team at the South of England, we wouldn't have been organised here today so efficiently. So thank you to the South of England team for getting us all sorted out. I think it's been really interesting, guys. Hopefully it's stopped raining here because of all the positivity that you're flowing out of my laptop. Hopefully the rain will disperse. Chris will be able to get all the rest of his crops in. And as Charles and Tom, you're going to go up to 5,000 head by I don't know, the end of March. Everything's positive. Well done, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well done.
Brilliant. Thank you all. Have a